Chapter 14: Christian Science. The domination of any one fixed opinion, to the exclusion of further mental growth, holds the spirit in a state of non-progression, as has been attested by intelligences who on earth had held strongly to the Christian Science teaching regarding the non-existence of matter, and who have told of the difficulties encountered in freeing themselves. A friend of ours had been a deep student of Christian Science, and at the same time an investigator of the facts concerning spirit return. Shortly after he had passed away, he was brought to our circle to be awakened through controlling Mrs. Wicklund, and has since told us something of the conditions in the spirit world. Experience January 27th, 1918. Spirit Mr. H.M. Psychic Mrs. Wicklund. I am pleased to come here again. I felt that I must take advantage of this evening to say something to my dear wife, present in the circle. I am so glad I can talk to her as we always talked. I am happy she is here. God bless you, my wife. We were so happy together. I would not care to come back here at all if it were not that she is still on earth. This world is only a school where we gain understanding through experience. In the spirit world, we go on and on, progressing, but before we can progress, we must have understanding of the spiritual laws. If we have not the right understanding, then we remain in darkness and hover around the earth plane. I am pleased that I had even a little knowledge of the higher life, for when I reached there, my spiritual eyes were open, and I could see and realize the beauties of the spirit world. I have met many of my dear friends on the spirit side of life. Many whom I knew are still in darkness, and I have tried to help them understand their transition. If I could only express the conditions on the spirit side of life so that you would get the full meaning. There is such beauty, such harmony. I have to thank that little silver star, one of Mrs. Wicklund's guides, for having awakened me when I reached the other side. Even with my knowledge of the other world, I might have slept a long time, because when I passed out, I was in a heavy sleep from an opiate which was given me on account of the nature of my sickness. But this little Indian girl called me by my name and woke me up and brought me to the spirit world. You know, I had been sick for a long time, and I was very sick before I passed out. I made my mistake in trying for so long to cure myself. Christian Science says we should overcome matter. We cannot overcome matter by will. When we are in the physical body, and the body needs certain forces of which it is made, if we do not get them in our food, we must get them through medicine, and so build up the body, because will cannot conquer substance. God has given us a will to use as a force in nature, and we should use it rightly. When as scientists we refuse to do this, we must suffer the consequences. I was an example of such a consequence. I went into science with full willpower and full faith that there is no such thing as matter, and that we should not overcome it. And that we should overcome it. I tried, and I failed. Mrs. Eddy is suffering now for advancing that idea. When you have a dress that is wearing out, you try to get some material of the same color and quality with which to mend the dress. We do not do that with our bodies. We think the body should develop the substance it needs when it wears out. I did not get enough elements in my food to build up my physical body. My organs became atrophied and sluggish and were inactive because I did not take the right food to give them proper activity. I should have gone to a physician to have them put in normal condition, but instead I tried to use my will to make them work. I tried by intelligence to overcome and build up the weak part of my body. That is just as if one refused to mend a worn place in a dress, insisting that no hole could come in that dress. I was just as foolish about my body, and I had to suffer the results. When the body needs toning up, we must do something to tone it up and to get the electric forces set right. I passed out because I wore out my body with my mind and did not feed it or take sufficient care of it. God gave us our bodies, and He also gave us minds to take care of them. If we become one-sided and think mind is all, then we get into trouble. I took good care of my clothes, but how little I took care of my body. If I had paid half as much attention to my body as I did my clothes, I feel that I would have been on Earth today. Probably someday things will be so understood that there will be no death. I mean that we will merely step out of the physical body into the spirit world. If one would prepare himself for passing out of the body as he does for a journey, he would be able to say, "Now I am ready to go. I am through with this world. It is time for me to go, and I want to go to the spirit side of life." Then there would be no dread. Many Christian scientists ruin their bodies by lack of right care and often go as far as I did. They use will, not reason, and take improper nourishment or not enough. I knew about 10 years ago that I should attend to my inactive organs. If I had had them attended to, I would not have suffered as I did. I suffered a great deal, and I used my will to make inactive parts act. I should have liked to remain on Earth long enough to do the work I felt I should do. But I will do the work on the spirit side of life, and when my wife comes, we will work together. My dear wife, if I had thought less of mental or Christian science and given more thought to the material side of things, then you would be in a better position than you are now. I really lost all thought of things material, and I guess I thought we could live on air, and I always thought conditions would change sometime. I did not realize. I was so hypnotized in my work that I hardly lived in the material world. If it had not been for my wife, I think that sometimes I would have forgotten that I should eat at all. I thank God she was not so deeply interested in the work as I, because then there might be 2 dead people. Before leaving, I must tell you of a little experience. When I passed out, I was awakened by hearing somebody say, "How do you do?" I listened, and once again I heard the quaint voice of my little friend, Silver Star. Then I thought I must be in California, because I remembered that Dr. Wicklund and his wife were there, and I thought that Silver Star was speaking through Mrs. Wicklund. Nobody says, "How do you do?" like Silver Star. I did not realize that I had passed out of my body. Again I heard Silver Star say, "How do you do?" in her strange way, and then I began to wonder where I was. All at once I seemed to be alive again. Then I felt better. I thought, I must have gone through the crisis of my sickness, and now I am feeling better and am waking up. That was the same time Silver Star brought me in to control Mrs. Wicklund. I realized that I was weak from my sickness, but having no pain, I thought I was getting better. I felt so light and strong that my first thought was that I could finish my book. But when I really came to myself, I heard Dr. Wicklund talking to me. Then I thought, well, how did I get to California? How did I get here? I must be dreaming. It was some time before I realized where I was. I did not even realize that I was controlling. Doctor asked me who I was. I thought it strange that he did not know me, but I told him that I was Mr. M, and asked whether he did not know me. Doctor was very much surprised and explained as gently as he could that I had passed out of my mortal body a week before and was now a spirit. That was the first time I realized that I had passed out of my physical body into a spiritual body. It was very pleasant to think that I had wakened in a mortal body instead of in darkness. Afterwards, I saw many of my friends, and I felt that there is no death. Doctor talked to me for a while, and then my father, mother, sister, and brother all came to me, and they brought many relatives and friends, and we had a happy reunion, one that can never be forgotten. Only I wanted you, my wife, to be with me when I met all my relatives and friends. When I realized that I was using an earthly body, I felt sick again, and my willpower seemed to fail me. I began to feel very weak, and a sensation of sickness came over me. I at once thought of my little friend Silver Star, and she said I must throw away my old clothes, because I had no use for my old body, for I had new clothes now. When I thought of my spiritual body, I arose. I felt I had new clothes, and I received strength and left the physical altogether. The magnetic current was cut, and I dropped my old clothes entirely. I was then lifted bodily, so it seemed, and I felt I was floating, and we went through conditions of all kinds. I felt so strange and saw so much that I grew fearful. So they told me to shut my eyes and keep them shut, which I did. I did not know anything after that until they placed me on a beautiful bed. I was very tired, and all I wanted was to rest. Just rest. When I awoke from that sleep of rest, my relatives and friends were around me. Somebody said, "Now you are well and strong, and we will take a journey to our home in the spirit world." We went to many of their homes. Each had a little home. We were united and happy, for here only harmony exists. We traveled from one place to another. When I had been to visit quite a few friends, they said, "Now we have seen the spirit side of life. Now you have seen the spirit side of life. Here we are not idle. This is not a world in which one is idle. It is a world of busy minds. It is in each one's duty to work. Now you are strong, and we will take another journey to Earth. I wanted to see my wife so much. You were in my mind so much, my wife, and I wanted to see you. We pass through the spirit world and our sphere to matter again. The Earth is a little globe. The globe has a sphere around it. The distance between the spirit world and the world of matter is about 60 miles. This sphere is the world of the spirits in darkness. Christ went to the spirits in darkness and prison, the prison of ignorance. We pass through conditions that cannot be described, the most hideous, the most fiendish, so ugly that I cannot describe them. It made me shudder to see the condition of the crippled minds, the selfish minds, the jealous minds. Each had the countenance of his mind. They were dressed as when on earth, but only because of their minds. They were like vermin. They were like a lot of worms stirred up and crawling over one another. Talk about hell. That surely was hell. They told me that was the earthbound sphere. Then we came to matter again. We saw the people walking around in a life of matter, each one in some kind of business. It looked like a world of ants, and each one seemed to have some of these evil-minded spirits clinging to him. They were like the barnacles on boats. Some are shaken off, but others come on. I cannot describe the sight. I have been with you, my wife. You have felt me. I could not impress you because I was not strong enough to use my mind for that purpose, but still you have felt me. It has only been a little because I had not strength enough to come closer. I am with you a great deal. After I learn in spirit how to overcome matter, then I can come to you and help you. I will build a home for you in the spirit world, and when that home is finished and your work here is done, then I shall be the one to meet you, and we will have a real home. I want to thank you for all the privilege of coming to your little circle, and would like to come again some other time. An extract from another communication from Mr. H.M. follows the same line of thought as the previous remarks. Experience November 3rd to 1920. Spirit Mr. H.M. Psychic Mrs. Wickland. I wish that I had had less belief that I could cure myself by thought. Everything that God put in nature is for man to use, not misuse. We should not condemn anything that God has given the world to use, but we have so many beliefs and creeds that we forget the principle of our Maker. If we would understand his wonderful work through nature, we would love others better than we do. We do not condemn anything, but teach men and women to love each other. Teach them to know what their duties are in this mundane sphere. Those on earth have so many creeds and fads that they drown themselves in their faith, forgetting that it is their duty to help the weak ones instead of stepping on their feet. So it is also with the body God gave us, to take care of and not misuse. For my part, I should have done more to learn what was the matter with me instead of only thinking there was nothing the matter, that I only imagined it and there was no such thing as sickness. If I had not hypnotized myself in that belief of Mrs. Eddy's, that mind should overcome matter, and that it is only our mortal mind that is so-called sick, and we have not the right understanding. If I had tried to find out what was the matter with me and called on some physician, one who had studied anatomy and the philosophy of life, one who had spent years in studying human nature and the human body, I should have been better off. Christian scientists condemn physicians, yet physicians have devoted their lives through centuries to the study and control of all sickness. Why should we condemn them and say there is no such thing as sickness? Why should anybody condemn another who has devoted his whole life to study? Christian science says there is no such thing as sickness, and that you are not in the understanding. Suppose that in olden times we had held the theory that there is no matter. How about Harvey? He discovered the circulation of the blood. Poor man, he was killed because of his discovery. He was killed by ignorant people who did not believe the truth. So one thing after another has been discovered in human anatomy, yet Christian scientists discard that altogether. and also say there is no such thing as the body. I did not take care of the body that God gave me. I thought mine should overcome it. If I had consulted a physician, I might even be with you today. Do not let yourselves be hypnotized by ideas. Every theory has some good in it, but let us take the good and discard the rest. As Mrs. Eddy now sees these things, she wishes she could correct many of her statements. She now has to suffer for her mistakes, and it is very hard for her. Her followers come to the spirit side of life and expect to find things as she taught them. Mrs. Eddy herself has spoken in our circle several times and has brought invisible audiences which she endeavored to free from the misconceptions acquired from her teachings relating to the problems of life and matter. Experience February 24th, 1918. Spirit Mary Baker Eddy. Psychic Mrs. Wickland. I am here again, and I feel so sad. Do not doubt me. Do not doubt me. Why will people doubt me? Help me, God help me. I am in a terrible condition. I knew about the wonderful truth of the life beyond. I knew it well while in life, but I shut the door because I wanted a religion of my own. Spiritualism belonged to the past days. I wanted something new, something higher, something better than spirit return. I taught that you must not let any entities control you or influence you or give you any inspiration, but that you must be yourself and develop yourself and be one with the infinite. Shut the door to the spirit world and be selfish. That was I. I had the truth of healing the sick. I was a medium, and in my younger days, my childhood, I was obsessed. As I grew older, no one knew what was the matter with me, for I had such queer spells. Now I know what it was. An influence was controlling me whenever I had the spells. I was of a very nervous temperament, and I was cured of those spells by Dr. Quimby. He believed in the work of obsession. I took some of his doctrine and used it for my own. The doctrine would have been all right if I had not denied the finer forces in nature. I denied matter, but friends, as I told you one time, I had a vision, and I saw how they treated patients in the other world, but at that time I thought it was a dream. They were teaching the spirits that there is no such thing as matter. They said, forget it, it is only imagination. You are not sick, you just imagine it. That belongs to matter. That is only your mortal mind. You should overcome and develop the spirit within you. I thought that this vision meant that I was to teach that on earth, and I set to work. Now I see my mistake, because there is matter, and so long as you live on the material plane, you will have to recognize matter. When you reach the spirit side of life, your mind has to be taught to overcome matter, not cling to it, because spirits in darkness are clinging to matter as much as we cling to matter when we have our physical bodies. I took this and taught it and started on my work. It was so misunderstood because I could not myself explain why matter was not. If only I could get people to recognize matter and recognize the truth of life after this. If I could only go back to my church and teach the truth, the genuine truth of God. God is the spirit of the universe, and we are a part of that great spirit. Understanding this, we can overcome matter. You are in the material body and you become sick. You become sick because there is a lack of something in your body, which you must have, some element that helps in some way or another. But your mind can help to overcome. If I had taught that instead of denying matter altogether, it would have been so much better. I wanted money, and we concentrated to have the grandest churches in the world. My aim was to have churches of my own teaching all over the universe. I lost the opportunity to develop people's finer nature, the finer nature of men and women, because I shut the door of love and sympathy. Do not doubt who this is. Do not doubt me. I am here. I am here. I am no more than any human being. Mine was a life which did not do what it ought. I want to be helped. My people come to me and want help, and I need help myself. They cling to me and hold me down, and I shut the door for their happiness. We have only one mind. You understand where I got the mortal mind part from. I thought that should be taught here, but it should only be taught beyond the grave, beyond the veil, and only to the earthbound spirits who are in darkness and cling to matter. That should be taught on the spirit side of life and not on the earth plane. Have love and sympathy, and do the very best you know for others. Have love and sympathy, and do the very best you know how for others. I could not leave this matter alone, and I do not feel that I should, because it crushes me so. I came to this circle because so many have been helped here. I go from one place to another, and you will hear of me at different intervals because I can explain to a few at each place, and in that way people will wake up. We cannot do much yet, but will you allow me to come here once in a while when I see I can be helped? You know I have so many people who hold me down and say, "Why did you teach me? Why did you teach this? Why did you shut the door for us? Give us light. Give us light and understanding." So many people are here, but they cling to matter. So many of my people are here, and in talking with you, I talk to them. You understand, I knew the real truth, but I shut the door. I cannot open the door for many of my followers because I shut the door for them and close the door for myself. And when they pass out, the door is closed. They want me to help them, and when I explain things to them in the true light, they doubt me and say that I am not Mrs. Eddy because she did not preach such lessons. I thank you for giving me this little time. Tonight, many of my followers came with me, and through my talk to you, they will be helped. Their subconsciousness, which is asleep, must be awakened. Question: is the little pamphlet recently published called Confession by Mrs. Eddy from the Spirit World authentic? Spirit: certainly it is. I am trying through every avenue to speak. I am not going to stop here. I will take advantage of every chance there is for me to tell the truth and reach my people. You may hear from others that I have talked with them. I will bring the above subject here and there. People doubt me now, but I shall keep on. I will not rest. We will have centers for the work. I want you here to help me spread the news. Not much, just a little thought now and then will help. I will get my people together and bring them here and talk to them. If I may come once in a while, for I can reach them more easily when I control a mortal body. God bless you all, and again I thank you for the privilege of having this opportunity of speaking to some of my people and helping them. Further evidence of the fact that Mrs. Eddy, when on Earth, knew the truth regarding the spirit side of life and the earthbound condition is found in one of the early editions of the Christian Science textbook in the chapter on the science of being. Quote, if the principal rule and demonstration of being are not in the least understood before what is termed death overtakes mortals, they will rise no higher in the scale of existence at that single point of experience, but will remain as material as before the transition, still seeking happiness through a material instead of through a spiritual sense of life, and from selfish and inferior motives. So long as the error or belief lasts that life and mind are finite and physical, and are manifested through brain and nerves, so long the penalty of sickness, sin, and death will continue. To the other, the spiritual class, relates the scripture, on such the second death hath no power. A spirit who had become fanatical over the Christian Science teachings was brought in by Mrs. Eddy as an example of the difficulties which she encountered in the work of enlightening her followers. Experience, June 16, 1918. Spirit, name unknown. Psychic, Mrs. Wickland. Spirit, what kind of meeting is this? Doctor, this meeting is held for the purpose of helping ignorant spirits, spirits in darkness. Spirit, we should not sing so much as we do, for that belongs to the mortal mind. We should be quiet and concentrate our minds to understand. Spirit, or Doctor, to understand what? Spirit, the true understanding. Doctor, what is that? Spirit, the Spirit of God. Doctor, and what is that? Spirit, if you do not know, then you had better study and understand. Doctor, if you can tell us something about God or Spirit, we should all be glad to hear it. Spirit, God is all in all, and we are part of that great divinity. We should concentrate and put our mind toward the Great Spirit. We should develop the finer forces within us. But I am not here to talk to anyone. Doctor, should you not like to enlighten us? Spirit, I do not know if you belong to the church. Doctor, did you not say that God is all in all? Then we are all part of him also. Then we are a part of him also. Spirit, if you have the right understanding, you are. If you do not have the understanding, then you are not. You are more of the mortal mind. Doctor, are we not a part of God if God is all in all? Spirit, I do not care to answer your questions. Doctor, is the mortal mind also of God? What happens to people after death? Spirit, I have nothing to do with death. Doctor, have you found God? Spirit, God is within you when you have the right understanding of his wonderful work. Doctor, how is it within yourself? Spirit, I am one with the Great Spirit because I have understanding. Doctor, understanding of what? Spirit, God, and how to develop your own self. Doctor, as far as I can tell, you have developed selfishness. Spirit, that all belongs to the mortal mind. Doctor, what happens to people when they lose their bodies? Spirit, they go back to the infinite. Doctor, where do they go? Spirit, don't you know? I know, but I do not care to speak of it. I do not argue. I know for myself, but I do not like to teach. I am one of his elect. Doctor, then you do not like to teach ignorant people. Spirit, no, I do not. Doctor, what church do you belong to? Spirit, I belong to the Church of Understanding. Doctor, where does it exist? Spirit, it is the church that should be all over the world, the church where the people understand and know that they can overcome matter and overcome mortal mind and be one with the infinite. Doctor, are you a Christian Scientist? Spirit, yes. Why do I have to come down to such mortal-minded people? Doctor, don't you think you must have made some misstep which brought you down to such people as we are? Don't you think if you had read and studied the Bible and had acquired an understanding of the real mystery of life, it would have given you more peace of mind? Isn't it strange that you should come down to such common clay as we are? Spirit, I suppose I have come here to do some missionary work among you. I suppose I came to teach you to forget mortal mind. You should all be loving and kind, one with the infinite. You are not in the understanding. I may have come to lead you up to God, to the right understanding. I must help you all to understand. You must take the first step and read Mrs. Eddy's books. Then you will be one with the infinite and leave all mortal mind behind. You go on and on. You have to go through a great deal to get understanding. You can be led up to the infinite God if you read and study. You have not understanding of the infinite. Doctor, what does that infinite understanding call you? Spirit, I do not care to talk or argue with you. Doctor, what did they call you when you had a mortal mind? Spirit, call me. Names belong to the mortal mind, and I have nothing to do with that. It degrades one and drags one down. I came to teach you regarding the infinite, the spirit within you. Doctor, do we have to give you $2 for your teaching? Spirit, that belongs to the mortal mind. Develop the spark of the divine within you, and you will rise to the infinite God. Doctor, do you suppose we could ever climb so high? Spirit, yes, by studying and studying. It is the only salvation for you. Doctor, you seem to have gone so far that you cannot join in anything with us. Spirit, I have passed beyond mortal mind, and we do not need to go back. We go forward. Doctor, it hurts to come down to mortal mind again, doesn't it? There is an old saying that what goes up must come down. Spirit, what kind of people are you? Doctor, we are just common sense people, just mortal mind people. Spirit, then I must raise you to a higher level. Doctor, what is your name? Spirit, just call me Infinite. Doctor, Christ went among sinners. Are you better than he? Spirit, I am one with the infinite God myself. Doctor, have you seen God? Spirit, God is within you. You are a part of the infinite. You are happy with him, the God of the universe, just beautiful bliss and harmony. Doctor, how did you happen to come here? Spirit, I suppose I came to be your teacher. Doctor, you spoke of going forward and that God is all in all. Is he within you? Spirit, I am one with the infinite. I am in love with the Lord and the infinite. You people here are still in your mortal caskets. You do not know anything. Doctor, that is a very elaborate statement. Spirit, we have to overcome. It is just an error. Doctor, on your part or ours? Spirit, I must help you to climb higher. I came to be a teacher to you all, to help you to understand and become one with the infinite. Doctor, probably an exchange of ideas might be helpful. Spirit, I do not need any teaching. I am one with the all in all. Doctor, what do scientists think will happen when they die? Spirit, they should be part of the divine. I was a follower in one of the churches of Christian Science. I belong to the Mother Church in Boston. I am one of the elect. Doctor, did you ever see Mrs. Eddy? Spirit, Mrs. Eddy is Christ himself. She is my Christ. She is God himself. She is the most wonderful woman on earth. sucks. And the one we should worship. Oh, God. Oh, man. Doctor, how long have you been so radical on that subject? Spirit, I will not answer you. Doctor, how long has Mrs. Eddy been dead? Spirit, I do not care to argue with you. Doctor, who died first, you or Mrs. Eddy? Spirit, with asperity, I will not answer your question. Doctor, I did not think you had so much malicious magnetism. Spirit, Mrs. Eddy never died. She never will because she is the teacher of the infinite spirit. Doctor, have you ever seen Mrs. Eddy? Spirit, she is in Boston. Doctor, she is dead. Spirit, she is not dead, and she never will die. Doctor, Mrs. Eddy died several years ago. Spirit, her teachings were that she would never die. She will go from the mortal casket into the infinite. Guess that's sort of true. Doctor, how long is it since you died? Spirit, I did not die. I only left my mortal casket. I was a fine practitioner. Well, at least they realize they're dead. Doctor, how did you come to Los Angeles, California? Spirit, I am not in Los Angeles. I am in Boston. Doctor, some intelligent spirits have brought you here to be helped, but the entity was so wrapped in her own ideas that she would not listen to anything else and was taken away, after which Mrs. Eddy came. Experience June 16, 1918. Spirit, Mary Baker Eddy. Psychic, Mrs. Wickland. Good evening. I am Mrs. Eddy, Mary Baker Eddy. I wanted to come here again to give you one demonstration of what I have to deal with, referring to the preceding spirit. I cannot do anything with people when they are like that until they contact matter again. I feel so sad and sorry, for I shut the door myself. I want you to let me come here and extend help to a great number of spirits by speaking through the psychic as an invisible audience that have the same understanding of my doctrine. If I had only opened the door of the real spiritual understanding and taught the real truth on earth, things would be different. I knew I had the truth. Damn. We should unite and be one strong body, because I know there is power in concentration, and I only wish that I could have the whole world understand this doctrine. If I could only come back and tell my people what I now have to do. You saw the demonstration you had here tonight. I asked the Band of Mercy to bring one of my followers in to show what I have to deal with. With this one, we could probably demonstrate to 100 similar spirits the folly of the mortal mind idea. Concentrate your mind over and over, again and again, around and around, and read and read. That was the way I taught. One to reach understanding. I said my followers should read my books, and read them until they became second nature. When you are in matter, and the mind has to have some food. When you are in matter, the mind has to have some food. But when my people pass to the spirit side of life, and matter is no more, they have thrown off their mortal error. You see just where they are. What can I do with them? How much could you do with them under similar circumstances? There is my work, and more is coming. Every day there are more and more people coming. I try to help them because I taught mortal error and did not teach the truth. I feel so sad, and I do wish I could tell them to open the door for the spirit of understanding, and not keep on just reading and concentrating. In every church all over the United States, where we have churches, they use the same lesson on the same Sunday. They form a circle, round and round, and you must know they form a very strong magnet and draw people to the same condition. When they come here, they cling to me so closely. And what am I to do? If I tell them the common sense things I should have taught them, they will not believe. I knew I had the real truth, and I had power, but I was selfish. I wanted to have a religion of my own. I wanted one that the whole world should know. What have I now? When my people pass to the spirit side of life, the door is closed and I cannot open it. What progress could you make with the spirits you had here tonight? I thank the Mercy Band and all of you here, because through this experience we took the spirit to the spirit world, and they will teach her through object lessons. There were many scientists here tonight, and they saw how foolish it all is. Their eyes were opened, and the spirit friends took them away with them. The one here we could not do much with, but she was an object lesson to teach the others, and in time she will be helped. There were many scientists here. My people read, and the majority come over here without any understanding. I close the door for my people, and it is hard. It is easy for them so long as they are in the mortal body, but when they have lost the mortal body, they see nothing. For them there is no spirit world. It is all infinite. I taught them to close the door to the spirit world, and I taught them to read only my books. I wanted a religion of my own. I was a trance medium, and I gave readings, but I must confess I felt that was too common. I wanted to reach more intelligent people because I found that spiritualism would not reach the people I wanted to reach. So I took Quimby's doctrine, and also, as I told you previously, the vision I had of a mortal mind in the spirit world, and combined the two. I wanted understood that I used to give readings in Boston. I was very selfish and wanted to be somebody and have some kind of a religion where I could have a following. I wished once that on my birthday all the church bells in the United States would ring, and before I died, I had that wish. I wanted to be that one. I wanted to be one that would be looked up to. I was brought up in such orthodoxy, and I would not have anything to do with any of the churches. I went into spiritualism first, and found that was much better than orthodoxy, so I followed it for some years, but I felt I could not get very far with it, and in the end I was obsessed. What I saw in visions I put in Science and Health. That book was written through the visions I had. It was not from my own brain. If only with that I had given the truth which my brother wanted me to. He was in the spirit world, but I would not. I did things Albert, brother, said I should not do, and I closed the door for him. During the last of my days I was not myself very much. All through life I was back and forth on the invisible plane. You know I was a psychic, and I could have been a very good one, and have done more good to the world through my psychic power than I did. At the last I was too obsessed to be responsible for all I was doing. If I had used my psychic power, I could have helped thousands. Now I have to deal with what you saw here tonight. So long as my people are in the mortal body, they are all right. But once that body is lost, things go round and round. My followers are in just as bad a condition as they are those who followed orthodoxy. When they pass out of the body, everything they see is mortal mind. Possibly you felt sorry you did not convert the spirit you had here tonight, but while not successful with her, hundreds of others were converted through seeing how foolish it all is, and were helped through your talk. This room was crowded with people, and I hope you will be all liberal enough to never shut the door for the beautiful truth of spirit return. I bless you all and give you my solid support and help, and I hope you will allow me to bring you more unfortunate ones sometime. I thank you for keeping the door open for me to come. I am only mortal, and I am not of the real infinite either. We all have our ups and downs, here as well as on the other side of life. People think that they change their condition when they die, but they do not. My people are especially fixed because everything with them outside of themselves is mortal mind, and their own mind is infinite. Many who were followers of my church have gone into New Thought. From New Thought, they come into a more spiritual understanding. New Thought is more liberal. In New Thought, they branch out, and being liberal will look into spirit return. They are more liberal in their reading of books. I forbade my people to read anything but science books. That was because of my selfishness. I wanted a church of my own with my people under my thumb. How I do wish I had taught obsession, which I knew was true, but I did not. When I used to go into trances, I wrote a great deal, and when I came to myself, I would deny what I got. I was obsessed by some spirit who wanted me to do such work, and I could not really help myself. If I had written the books as they were given to me and credited their source, I might have revolutionized the world. I again want to thank you and hope I can come another time. I also want to thank you, lady, Mrs. M mentioned in the first experience of this chapter, because your husband helped me in the very beginning, in the spirit world. He was one that helped me to a better understanding and brought me here where I could get help. I hope you will have all the success you wish. Concentrate your mind on success and have no fear that you will not succeed. And all over the world will spread this wonderful truth of spirit return and obsession, and through your obsession work you will cure many, many, many more people than I did. In our work, often when a healing was instantaneous, it was an obsession being relieved. You understand that also that all the healers which are in the circle of concentration with the power of the whole church to aid them, and that power of concentration is so strong that an obsession cannot live in that atmosphere. Many I cured were obsessed, but they concentrated that they were not sick. How are they helped? I will tell you. The average doctor tells a patient that he has such and such a sickness. He creates a fear in his mind. Let us take the case of gallstones. It is very hard to diagnose such a case correctly. The doctor says a patient has gallstones. Sometimes he operates, when that should not be done. Sometimes the patient gets well without an operation. That is due to his mind. He concentrates his mind on gallstones, until he can think of nothing else. You understand, you have in your mind a creative power. We have a spark of the infinite within us. In that divine spark, God created the world, all in it, and you as a part. Each of us has much of that creative power, and when you set your mind working with that power, you create your condition. When you go to one of my practitioners, the first thing that is done is to take your mind off your sickness. You are given absent treatment to get rid of fear. You have the same creative power within yourself. In a case of diphtheria, the mind can help you, but we cannot kill germs. There are many things we fail in, but we have success with chronic cases. We have more success because so many are obsessed. When you have fear, you are negative. I will be with you to teach obsession to the world. Teach the real truth and do not care for people's opinions. If only I could go to my mother's church and teach them the truth. Thank you, each and every one of you, and sometime I shall come again. Later records follow from the same source. Experience December 2nd, 1919, Spirit Mary Baker Eddy, Psychic Mrs. Wickland. I wanted to come again to speak of the work you are doing. What a blessing it is to humanity to help the mortals here on earth, and the spirit who has passed out in ignorance with no knowledge of the life beyond. I closed the door. I should have opened wide to give my knowledge to the world. I had the power and gift that God gave me to do the work to help humanity, and to do work to help humanity and to teach humanity that there is life after this. I was a medium and could have helped open the door from the spirit world to the earth life, but I closed it because of my selfishness. Also, I like to have something new that was not known before and to establish a religion of my own. I taught the wrong religion of life, and I denied the truth of spirit return, and tried to give out other things which suited my own fancy, my own self again. I shut the door for myself and my followers hereafter. If you could only help me to open the door again, to tell them that I am trying my very best to open the eyes of my followers. Tell them not to shut the door to the truth. Truth will stand wherever you find it, but do not deny it when you find it. I denied it, and so I suffer. Here are my followers coming to me one by one. Every day there are some coming over to the spirit side of life, and I am trying to tell them of the beautiful spirit world. But they say, no, you are not Mrs. Eddy, because she did not teach that when she was on earth. You are only a false person. And then they go away. You see what I have to deal with, and I cannot progress until I can help all these people to open their eyes. We should not deny God's wonderful manifestation of matter. It is real, not imagination. You could not live without matter. You could not have manifestations without matter. I denied the wonderful manifestation of matter and called it only imagination and error. We have only one mind, the mind that God gave to every mortal being. Matter belongs to material things. Still, we have matter in the spirit world, but more ethereal. I denied it. What is my spiritual body now? It is in a very crippled condition because my mind was so closed, and I denied the truth. I prayed to God, and I said that God was all in all, and his manifestations beautiful, and said that we should look up to him. Where is God? What is God? I said to my people that God is love, and love is God, but that phrase became only empty talk with my followers. We must realize God and where God is. God is life. God is electricity, because electricity is life. Electricity is only one part of God's wonderful manifestation. Flowers and colors of all kinds are manifestations of his wonders. Go into chemistry. Go into the wonderful mystery of life. Go into the microscopical world. These I denied entirely. I denied there was such a thing as disease and denied the existence of germs. When you get into the microscopical world, you will find a world in itself, and a very wonderful one. Go into chemistry. Go into the wonderful mystery of life. Go into the microscopical world, and a wonderful one. Now I am talking of what I have learned. Body and spirit are the nearest to his wonderful manifestation, yet a little microbe can kill the body, but not the spirit. Why should we not be powerful enough to overcome a little microbe? I denied God by denying matter. Let us go into chemistry and see the wonderful things there. That is matter. Did I go into it? No, I did not. It is easy to say there is no such thing as matter, that it is only mortal error. That is only mortal error. Let us study. Anything that is in matter, study in every phase. I have my eyes open now. I wish I could come back to teach my people the wonders of nature and the wonders we can do to help humanity and the spirits that are in darkness. I am there myself. I have to serve for what I have done, and I speak not here alone, but everywhere. I came to tell you this. Let everyone open the door to the spirit world, then he has once found it. When he has once found it, do not deny it. Do not deny it. Christ said, do not hide your light under a bushel. Let it shine for others. Christ said, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness. Christ was the truth. When you find the truth, do not deny it, but give it out to the world. I shut the door. I wanted to keep people under my control, and I did. I am now suffering for what I did. Tonight I feel so happy to think I can be of help to earthbound spirits that are doing very much mischief to humanity. If you could only see how many spirits there are in darkness who cling to human bodies and obsess people and send them to the asylums or to the spirit world by shortening their lives. There is so much work to be done. Let us all join hands and work together to spread the truth of the life hereafter, and also to help the earthbound spirits. Do not cast them away and say they are devils. They are only ignorant spirits like myself. I wanted to be something in the world and sold my soul for money. Let us all join together and pray to God to open the hearts of all my people to look into the higher life of spirits. If all my churches could be turned into sanitariums for earthbound spirits, what great good could be done? What great good could be done? We could empty the asylums and help people out of their misery. Let us help the unfortunate ones instead of sending them to asylums where they are mistreated, for it is not understood that the poor ones who are obsessed have to suffer because of the spirits who control them. Let us try to do all we can to spread the truth and help everyone who is obsessed. God bless you all. Goodbye. Experience August 23rd, 1922. Spirit Mary Baker Eddy. Psychic Mrs. Wickland. I wish all could realize and understand how beautiful and simple conditions are if people will only open their eyes to see them. I mean that they should open the soul eyes, but they are so material, and everything that is being taught is only matter. People cannot grasp spiritual things. The Bible is a beautiful book if it is read spiritually, not taken literally, and not as history. I wanted to study and learn what is in life, what is the aim of life here on earth. If you would only stop to think and study yourself a little, you would see how wonderfully God has manifested in you. First, there is your material body, how beautifully and wonderfully it is constructed, but how much more wonderful your mind is. How few understand the real meaning of life. It is always theory or dogma. It seems hard to get people to understand. When they get a little glimpse of light, they add dogma and theories of various kinds. If they would only be natural and look at nature. Everywhere you look, it is so simple to understand. There is no dogma or theory in nature, in nature's finer forces. These forces are hidden, but they are for you to discover. It is for you to find God's wonderful manifestation in nature. Let us worship God in that way. Let us worship Him in that wonderful spirit which is everywhere. Let us send out love to His children. We are all children of God. Not just my child or your child, but all. Do not think there is no one for you but your own child. That attitude is a sin and very selfish, for it is all only for self. Let us give out love as God gives it to us all. Let the sun shine every day on us and on everybody, not one or two, but all. Let the sun of understanding bring out beautiful thoughts of love. I want to know the real life. I have had many difficulties, and I still have, because I wanted to shine, and I wanted to be a light. I wanted to be known as one of the teachers. I had my difficulties before I attained my ambition. I followed studies of various kinds, but most of all, the secret of suggestion. If you knew how to apply and concentrate, get one thing in mind, and do not let anything else come into your mind. Just concentrate your thoughts on that very thing. Suggest and concentrate, then you will gain strength and power. When you talk, try to suggest things, keep them in your mind, and hold them because you have power over them. There are meetings of various kinds, but in a meeting for concentration and suggestion, there is power and strength. A man can hold his audience by his hypnotic power, and you follow along, and presently you get strength and power. I studied that because I wanted to have such power, and I got it. I got that, but another much more important thing I did not get, which was to study nature's finer forces instead of clothing myself with one idea and just circling around and around. I held people in that circle and did not let them get out. If I had only done what was first given to me in a vision, that is what I should have done, but I closed the door because I wanted to hold my people through suggestion. I felt that I had the power to conquer everything, even the world. I did a great deal, but selfishness crept in. I meant well in the beginning, and I did well, but I was selfish. I thought I had it all. Others had power before me, and others will have it after me in the same way, but I felt I had it all, and that I had found it all. I was not true. I should have said I had found the truth, and I should have given it to others as it was given to me, but I did not. I called it my own, and I closed the door for the real truth. I found the truth in the beginning, but I clung to theory, and that is the way with all of us who try to be leading lights. We are always clinging to theories and not to the truth. Theories seem to hold the people better than does the truth. Amen, sister. We do not teach it as we should. The truth would always stand if we did not deny it. All leaders want a little theory of their own and want to gather the people around them and hold them. They succeed for a while only, for the truth will spring up and spread. Do not be afraid of the truth. Do not be ashamed of it. Some day or other, everyone will have an understanding of truth. It is there, and it will blossom. Do not clothe it with dogma and theory. If I had taught the truth, I should be so much happier, and would have been so much better for my church. I thank you for what you have done in publishing my little article. I will shed a little light here and there. People may say no and scoff, but they cannot do so truthfully, because my spirit will be there and impress the truth upon them. I never felt that I was a little woman. I felt that I had the power to conquer the world. You can have that power too if fear does not interfere with you. Concentrate and shut the door to fear. Do not let fear come in. If you feel fear, say, no, no, I am not afraid. I shall conquer. And you will be surprised at your power. In a moment you will feel you are a giant. Shut the door to fear and open the door to spiritual power, and the strength of God will flow in and give you strength and power to conquer. You can never accomplish anything when you have fear. Take 5 minutes each day and concentrate on fear. Say, I shall never be afraid. I can conquer. And keep on, and you will be surprised at the result. There is always worry and fear. Worry is the sister to fear. When you have conquered these two, you will have strength and power, and you can help in healing. You can help everybody by just speaking a word to them. When I had conquered fear and worry, I sent my thoughts for strength and health to the persons who were sick. That was power, and removed the fear of sickness from them. When you treat persons, the first thing is to take away fear and worry. Let them forget themselves. Forget self, and you will be surprised how strong and well you will be. That is the secret of health. It takes time to conquer. Do not be discouraged. If it looks dark, overcome fear and worry. When you once have conquered, you will be well. You will be well, and you will do well in every way. Now I will say just a few words about my experience in the spirit world. In the first place, when I passed to the spirit side of life, it was in one way surprising to me because I had concentrated that I should live forever and had gotten the idea in my mind that I would not die. I had the idea that there is no death and that I would never die. I took it literally. I thought my body would never die and that I would stay on earth forever. There is no death when you have understanding. We only change the physical body for the spiritual. My body began to grow old. I concentrated and suggested, but I used too much energy in my work and I wore out. Finally, I lost out and another stepped in. At the last, I was obsessed. Of course, my people did not know it, but there were times when I was not myself. I thought I would never die, but I had to go. I had to go just the same. Now I could see how ridiculous the thing was. You know, I did not believe in matter. There was no such thing as matter. Still, my body was placed in a casket and sealed so well that the body could never get out of the casket. It was sealed in many ways, but nobody could get to it. It was sealed in many ways, so nobody could get to it. If there is no matter, why should all the money have been used to put my body into the grave? That was against my teachings, but we are material nevertheless. When I woke up to life, remember, I say life because that was the real life. I had a spirit body. In my visions, I had been to the spirit world many times and had always returned to earth. This time I felt that I could go back again, but my body was not there. It had been interred. Still, I did not realize the change because I had closed the door for spirit return. I did not want to teach it. I knew it because I was a medium in my early days. I gave readings in Boston for some, and I gave lectures as well, but after a while I denied it all. The truth was not in me. When I woke up in my spirit body, I still did not realize that it was not my material body. It was very hard for me to understand that I had gone through the change called death because I had concentrated that I should never die. The realization took much time. Then I had much to do and many difficulties to overcome. First of all came my brother, Albert. When he came, I felt that I did not want to have anything to do with spirits. You see, I said in my book that there is no such thing as spirit return. I had so hypnotized myself with that theory that it was real to me. Albert came to me and told me I had not taught the whole truth. That was the time when I was a medium, and he talked through me, but after a while I refused to allow this. Now he came to me again and said, "Come, I will show you that what you have taught is not true, and that you did not tell the truth." After that, my first husband came. He understood me better than the rest. He showed me the way. One by one, many friends came. Then came Quimby. He said, "You took my theory. Why did you not give me a little credit for the help I gave you?" Then I saw how selfish I had been. I was accused. I was helped, but I had not given credit for it. I was obsessed when I was a young child and often had spells of obsession. For many years, those obsession spells came over me. Quimby helped me. He took the spirits away and taught me the true religion. He taught me to know myself. He taught me spirit return. But I did not listen. After he had gone, I took his theory as my own. In the spirit world, I had to go through a great deal to overcome selfishness. I had to serve and learn the lesson of life as a little child. I had to be taught about God in a different way. Mental healing is something we should all learn. It is of great importance. Let us all learn to overcome by suggestion and concentration. Get your mind centered and learn the art of concentration. Take some object, say that table, concentrate and concentrate. Try to hold your mind on that table, nothing else for 5 minutes. You cannot do it. Try very hard, and after a while, you will succeed. That is the secret of health. Concentration is the secret of power. You must be able to concentrate your mind on one object for 5 minutes. This will require a long, long time of practice. It does not come to you at once, because as soon as you try to concentrate and keep your mind absolutely on the table, there will be a dozen other thoughts coming into your mind. Keep them out and keep your mind on the object, and you will find in time that I am right. When you can concentrate your mind for even 1 or 2 minutes, you have gained much. Say to yourself, I can concentrate, for I have no fear or worry, and keep on concentrating. Shut other things out and keep on shutting them out, and before you know it, you will have strength and you will feel powerful because you have a part of life itself, God. When you have gained that power and can say to a sick person, I send you power, and you will have strength and health, and you will be surprised how quickly recovery follows. Before you try to send out that power, concentrate your mind on one object for 15 minutes. Do not think, now I have the power in my hands and I can heal, for you cannot heal if your mind is not there. For that reason, many healers are not successful. The mind must be centered on one object before you can heal. That is the secret of healing. Now learn the lesson and conquer. When you are sick, or you go into a sick room, concentrate your mind on some object. Hold your mind on that object for a while, and you will feel that you have great power and that you can heal, because you will receive strength from God to heal. That is another secret. We should all understand it. By concentration, without fear and worry, you can all heal. But remember, settle your mind first before you begin to heal, for otherwise it will be of no use. Now I have taken up too much of your time, but I wanted to say a few words and to thank you for having my article published. It will awaken some people and teach them to think and understand that the real life is on the other side. Do not try to lean on others, but stand by your own self and conquer self. Then you can help others and bring them together in one circle of harmony, and you will have true happiness. This is Mary Baker Eddy. Thank you for letting me come. Good night.